Japan has a large network of ferries, which makes sense when you think about how many thousands of islands make up the country. And today we're catching one of the longer ones, all the way down here to Kyushu. The weather forecast for our trip is not very favourable, but nevertheless, join us for 24 hours as we see what an overnight ferry in Japan is like.
Why are you holding onto the pole?
I can feel it rocking.
And hello from the inside of the ferry itself. Although I would say it's a little bit more like a cruise ship than a ferry. There's so much going on. There's a karaoke room, there's a public bath, there's even an elevator behind us that goes inside the ferry. So we are going to try in the next almost 24 hours to do everything that we can and make the most of this ferry trip. I say try because maybe Roy might not be able to make it happen.
Look, guys, I get deathly motion sick. I don't know how the hell Amy convinced me to get on a boat for the next 24 hours or so. I was always that kid in the backseat of the car, like throwing up as we go over like windy mountain passes. I can't help it. I was just built this way. But I've taken my meds. Hopefully they can kick in. We've only been on the boat for like half an hour. But yeah, getting on the boat itself was actually a pretty interesting process.
Alrighty, bye-bye. This is a bit scary. I've got to go out by myself. Off we go.
So only the driver can be in the car as the car goes onto the ferry, and we decided that would be me. I've never driven onto such a big ferry before. I think it's gonna be fine, but let's go and see. This is exciting. We are off. Looks like we have to show our tickets up here maybe. It looks like everyone else just has their tickets on their phone, but I printed ours out on paper. I don't know, just to be safe. こんばんは。はい、ありがとうございます。Up we go!
Once the ferry leaves the port, there's no access to the vehicle area again until you arrive at your destination. So we made sure that we had everything we needed, dropped off our things at our beds, and went up to the top deck to watch as we pulled away.
After saying goodbye to land, we headed back down to our sleeping quarters. We have the cheapest kind of room, if you can call it that. It's kinda like a long hallway, but with bunk beds. The price for this room type for the driver is included in the cost of the car, while any extra passengers have to pay for a room.
There are, of course, much nicer rooms on the ferry that range from small single-bed cabins to whole suites with their own bathroom. They're more expensive, and when we tried booking online a few weeks in advance, they were all full. So we wish you good night as we try and survive the next few hours of sleep.
Good morning. It is about 5 a.m. in the morning. I think we went to bed at like maybe 1:30 a.m. There was a lady in our area who at first I thought was sleep talking, but I think maybe she was really not feeling well. So I kind of woke up and then I was like, oh, I didn't feel super great either. Like the ship, when you're laying down, feels like it's rolling a lot. So I was like, no, I'll get up and I'll go like maybe outside onto the deck and just get some fresh air and look at the horizon. But then when I went to do that, the deck has a sign that says it's closed now because of rough conditions. So instead I just came in and I'm just sitting looking out the window, which actually is working quite nicely. So I'm not feeling too bad now, but I don't know about Roy, he's still sleeping, so I thought I'll leave him and I don't want him to wake up and feel bad. So better maybe to just let him sleep. Oh, it looks like they've opened the deck now. Right on sunrise. Let's go.
By the time breakfast came around, spirits and my belly were feeling better, so it was off to the restaurant. It only serves food for about an hour or so around each mealtime, and meals aren't included in the ferry fare, but they were surprisingly not bad.
Good morning. We have survived the night. And how are you feeling this morning?
Oh, honestly, not too bad. I think being able to lay down is an absolute godsend, you know. It's the best position for not feeling sick. Interestingly enough though, Amy, you woke up and you said you weren't feeling too good.
Yeah, I feel the exact opposite. I think laying down is the worst. Once I got up and sat up and looked out at the horizon, I was like, oh, I'm fine.
That's weird. Anyway, we were able to get up and have a nice breakfast, and I think a better way to like wake the body up is check out the public baths. It's closed.
Damn.
Mission failed. I guess we can come back a little bit later, yeah?
Why is it closed?
I think it's the weather conditions probably making it not safe.
Maybe the bath water is like slopping around everywhere over the
I can
sides because
imagine,
it's
yeah.
shaking so much.
Oh, yeah, let's come back later.
All right.
So far, this ferry trip has shown us that things can get a little rocky on the open ocean. And it makes sense. Like many of the long-distance ferry routes around Japan, this ferry travels in the Pacific Ocean. So I guess there's always a chance of rough conditions. Some ferries do go via the inland sea though, which I assume can make for a smoother journey. It was actually one of these routes between Kobe and Kyushu that was the first long-distance ferry operated in Japan back in 1968. Since then, many more routes have opened, transporting passengers, cars, and cargo between Japan's cities. Back to the baths though. While they weren't open, the shower rooms were, and later in the day, once things calmed down, the baths actually did open again, which was amazing.
All right, well, the public bath was a little bit of a bust so far, but don't worry, there are a lot of other activities to do, and the next one we're going to try is a planetarium show. That's pretty cool. Does that feel good?
More laying down. That's my kind of action.
Well, I thought that was going to be educational. For some reason, I thought it was going to be like, this is this star and this is where it is. But it wasn't at all. It was like a meditation while you look up at the stars and everything. And it went for 45 minutes, and I'll be honest, with the swaying of the boat and the laying in the beanbag and the beautiful music, it was delightful. I had a nap at the end.
I napped so hard.
What
It was
a
great.
good,
It was like an
good thing.
ASMR nap.
Okay, now it's on to the next one.
But first, a quick moment to enjoy the novelty of riding in the elevator.
Hello.
Exciting stuff. But I'm hungry, so let's get some lunch.
It is time to wear off the chicken from lunch with a little bit of exercise. And as I do this, I thought we'd discuss a little bit more. Why? Why would you take a car ferry rather than any other means of transport all the way down to the island of Kyushu, and for such a long time too? And for us, the answer to that is because for the next 10 days after we get to Kyushu, we're going to be traveling around. And we have a camper van, so we thought it's going to be a lot more economical overall if we are able to take the camper van down there, and then rather than paying for hotels each night, we can stay for free in the camper van. And honestly, it's just really far to drive all the way. So we thought, why not catch a car ferry instead? And I guess for an ordinary person or a tourist, it's not necessarily, that much more economical than catching something like the bullet train, for example. But I guess the really cool thing is just the experience. Like, it's really nice to see for yourself on a ferry just how many islands make up Japan. I mean, not that you can see any right now, it's just completely fogged out. And it's just, yeah, really fun to just cruise along on a ferry in Japan. Okay, the moment I've got like an 1/8 of a candy that I've worked off. So let's see if we can do the full candy. Wow, cafe all day.
We still have more to see of the ferry, but as the day wears on, we take a moment to just relax. Being cozy inside the ferry with everyone else as the wild weather continued outside gave that same feeling you get on a cozy Sunday afternoon at home with family. Some people were watching TV, others were reading and playing card games, while some just watched as the ocean slipped by outside.
So many things to choose from. So far we've had fried chicken with exercise. And I'm just wondering how you feel.
Well, I don't know. We've been napping so much because it's just so convenient to be able to go and lay down that I don't know how I feel right now. I just woke up from a nap. I'm really looking forward to a coffee and a nice little sweet, but I feel pretty wrecked, to be honest.
But no seasick, right?
No, I'm actually feeling quite good in the seasickness department, which is really good.
Yeah, even despite kind of the terrible weather.
Yeah.
You're doing well, you're holding up well.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Like, if this is as bad as it gets, it's not too bad.
It was a good thing Roy wasn't feeling too bad because our last afternoon activity required a bit of stamina. Like all the meals on board, the karaoke room is an extra fee, but that wasn't going to stop us from living our best pop star lives. If you haven't already, I highly recommend giving karaoke in Japan a go at least once on your trip here. We always take our friends and family who visit, and while some are a bit hesitant before we go, after singing and dancing it out for an hour or two in a private room, everyone always comes away so happy. After karaoke, we headed to the restaurant for our last meal on the ferry. And then, before too long, it was time to pack up and jump in the car as we pulled into the port.
We've arrived in Kyushu, baby!
And honestly, in the end, the ferry trip was not that bad. In fact, I'm kind of sad to be getting off the ferry, but we are in Kyushu and we have got a big road trip planned, so keep an eye out for that video. It's coming next. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.